What's up? If you're new to my channel, welcome. I hope you have fun. If you're coming back, what's up? So I don't know if everybody experiences this, but personally, there were a lot of movies that I watched a lot as a kid, and for some reason, it feels like no one else knows about these movies. Now, there's a couple possibilities. Nobody else has seen these movies. Everybody else has seen these and has been brainwashed so they don't remember them, and I got out somehow. Everyone else has seen them and refuses to admit. Or I just don't know anyone that has seen them, but that's unlikely. It's probably the first one. I doubt anybody else has seen these movies. It's obviously the most likely. So, one movie I watched a lot as a kid is Land of the Little People. I want to start by saying, when you Google Land of the Little People, what comes up is a drama thriller movie from 2016. That's not the movie I'm talking about. So the movie I'm talking about is a 2003 movie that's actually called Jajantaram Mamantaram. And I really hope I'm saying that right, but I don't know because I believe it's Hindu, and I don't speak Hindu. So it's an adaptation of Gulliver's Travels. It's not horrible, but it's definitely something. So the original language of the movie is Hindi, but I guess my family somehow got their hands on an English translation version of it, and for some reason I was obsessed with that as a kid. I loved it so much. For whatever reason, when my sister and I were watching it, we couldn't find an English dub, but now when I look it up, really easy to find it, so I don't know why I couldn't find it before. But that's beside the point. If you haven't seen Gulliver's Travels, if you haven't read Gulliver's Travels, I haven't, but I've seen Land of the Little People, so I basically know the concept, because it is an adaptation of the book. The movie is basically about a man, he's on a boat, he gets caught up in a storm, and he ends up, I don't know if it's in another dimension, I don't know if it's on another planet, I don't know if he just happens upon an island of little people. I really don't know. It's a mystery to me. They make it seem like it's just an island of little people, because later at the end he just gets on the boat and leaves. Like, he's just like, alright, gonna go home now, or whatever. So, but I don't know. They also make it seem like it's another world, because they're like, you're the only big person here, and I don't know, maybe they think that their island is the whole world. I genuinely have no idea. But basically, man on a boat, caught up in a storm, ends up on an island. Everything on this island is tiny. The trees are tiny. The people are tiny. Everything very, very tiny. And then it turns out that this village, initially, they were scared of him. They're like, oh no, big man. Literally, like, massive. Giant. So they're all freaking out because this guy could literally just kill them instantly. No worries. But he turns out to be really nice. He befriends everybody. They're all like, wow, this dude's pretty cool. And then there's the evil guy. Of course, there's always the evil guy. And of course, he works for the chief of the village, because he's like the right-hand man to the chief of the village, because otherwise you don't have a story, right? That's how it has to be. So that guy that's kind of like right-hand man to the chief, they're the bad guy, and nobody thinks they're the bad guy. So everybody in the movie, they're freaking out because there's apparently another giant on the island that comes and eats the people as like a sacrifice. So we later find out that other giant that's been coming and killing people and eating them and terrorizing them occasionally, it turns out he's actually a little person that was created by the chief's right-hand man, our evil character that we are watching, who's trying to take over the village for himself. He's like, yeah, mine. Makes sense. Makes sense. Pretty much the whole movie you're watching, and it's this newcomer giant fighting this villain giant, and constantly winning. He keeps winning the whole time. He's just winning. Sorry, spoilers, but he just wins everything. But somehow, he just keeps putting up a fight, coming back. He turns into bugs a lot. I don't know what that's about, but I hate it very much. But meanwhile, there's like a romance subplot. It turns out that little dude likes Princess, who is the chief's daughter. And so there's that like there's like a romance subplot to this movie where the whole time he's trying to be with her, but the chief doesn't want him to be with her, and so at first they're like keeping it secret, but then evil dude reveals it, and then like little dude gets cast out and banished, and everyone's like, oh, and then because Giant defends him, he gets like rejected and banished, and they're like, go away, leave us, we don't want you here, you're just messing things up. But despite all of that, Giant still comes in and saves them because he's chill, you know? And so basically the movie ends and little dude and princess are together, evil dude's in the dungeon, chief is just vibing, and then they have like a farewell party and the Giant leaves. I think that the moral is kind of like throughout the whole movie he kind of taught them how to fight for themselves, because before they weren't cowards, but they kept just kind of being like, okay, and so he taught them how to fight for themselves, and he taught them about love, I guess. Yeah, so I guess that's kind of the point of the movie. Honestly, I don't know what the point of this movie is, and I don't know why I was so obsessed with it as a kid, and I mostly have no idea why we own this movie. So the way that the movie starts, whether you're watching the English dub or the English sub, personally, I still don't understand what this scene is. I don't know what it's accomplishing. I don't know what message is getting across. I don't know why it's here, honestly. I don't know. I feel like the movie would be exactly the same if they took it out and just started right after it. But this scene, there's a big thunderstorm and it's raining, it's pouring, and this group of guys, they enter into this place, they bust into this room, and these two people, a man and a woman, just kind of float out, and they're like, it's super like ominous, and they're like, ooh, and they literally just like glide over, and this group of guys is just mesmerized by this, and they kind of have a conversation, but it's mostly just the man speaking. It seems like a warning of some kind. Unless I'm super oblivious, we never see any of these characters again. I genuinely don't know what this scene is. But anyways, once you get past that, how did we ever think this was just like a movie?
I think we just thought movies were like this.
Randomly in other languages. They couldn't find real fish.
Or plants.
Or water.
So this is the dude they were talking about at the beginning. And I don't understand what they were talking about at the beginning. They said something like, your actions will decide your fate, but it's like they're not the ones on the boat. So why do their actions mean anything? Notice they're minimizing the time that the little people are next to the big man because they don't want to have to edit it unless they like have to edit it. That's why they didn't show him in that shot. We don't have to see them together unless it's like necessary. Now I was talking about mermaids. There were mermaids in this movie? That's a mermaid? This is the Rum Bum Bum Yum song out of nowhere.
I did not think it was this
I didn't think it was this early in the movie. The movie like just started.
We are
7 minutes in and it's time for our first musical number. This song's gonna be stuck in your head for the rest of your life.
Suffer with us.
I remember her little hand thing scared me so bad as a kid. Whoa, those guys must be ripped. What? Oh my gosh! They're not strong at all. She can fly. Is he joking around with them? Because that'd be really rude. I think he was just joking around with them.
They're gonna think that's some form of torture. That's like what it looked like. They were all like they'd never seen it before.
He keeps brushing his beard like this, And I'm pretty sure it's because he's afraid that it's like running out, like that it's falling, which means it probably must have fallen a lot of times. And so he's afraid that it's falling and they're gonna have to refilm stuff.
It looks like an alien spaceship, except
Natural. Organic.
organic. Yeah, like a fleshy one.
He looks like he's having fun.
Honestly,
I feel like they all had a lot of fun making this movie.
they probably did. That's how I yell.
Watching it twice as fast helps.
It's Prison Mike, it really does.
It is Prison Mike.
Is this a musical?
I think maybe. They're making him a sword. I give him all the evil powers. There's a list, and you're supposed to pick from them, but I said just pick all of them.
My brain is empty after watching that.
Thoughts gone, brain empty.
Thoughts gone, brain empty.
Sounds interesting.
It was interesting.
And now I don't need to wonder about that movie anymore. I feel
Yeah.
like I've completed a portion of my life.
Yep.
But we should watch something good now.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
So if you've always wondered what Gulliver's Travels is like, but you didn't want to watch Gulliver's Travels, watch Land of the Little People. It's basically the same thing. So I'm honestly pretty confused right now because I was curious and I wanted to figure out what the budget was for this movie and how much they made on it, just to get an idea, because surely I'm not the only person that's seen this movie. That's ridiculous. And I've run into some issues, because what it said that the budget was 9 crores. I don't know how to say that. I've never heard it before, but it's CRORES. And so I did some Googling to figure out how much that would be. So I've been trying to figure out how much this is in US dollars, terms that I understand, because I am a fool. And I've gotten a couple different results. The first result I got said that it amounted to $11 million. The next result I got said it was $100 million, and that seemed wrong, so I looked some more. The next result I got said over $900 million. So the number just kept getting bigger, so I know I was doing something wrong. So what I ended up doing was I went to boxofficeindia.com. So the way that they punctuate their currency, it's different than the way that we do ours, but basically 85 million rupees was the budget, which would be just over $1 million was the budget. And that's a number, I can believe that number. And then worldwide, they grossed about $745,000. So they really only got back less than 3/4 of what their budget was. So this movie isn't that bad, honestly. It's a good plot. I mean, it was a book that had multiple movies made out of it, so I'm not surprised that it's a good storyline. It's fun, it's good to follow. But the thing that gets me about this is that the acting is so over the top. And it's so weird, and there's so many scenes where you have to wonder, like, what on earth was the acting direction for this scene? Because what was that? And to some degree, I almost see why I liked it as a kid, because it's very entertaining. They make a lot of, like, faces, and they're like, the whole, like, he literally just keeps being like, there are multiple scenes where the giant just starts kind of being like, haha, and he just is making, like, noises and faces, and just moving really fast, and watching it now, it's almost creepy, but watching it as a kid, it was probably funny. But watching it now, it just kind of comes off as bad and weird. And unfortunately, I can't think of any better way to explain it than that, but I think it gets the point across enough for... Anyways, so I hope you enjoyed this video. Maybe it inspired you to go out and watch Land of the Little People. Maybe it inspired you to watch Gulliver's Travels. Maybe it inspired you to subscribe and like. No one ever says subscribe and like. It's always like and subscribe, right? Ultimately, it inspired me.
To do nothing.
Ultimately, this movie inspired me to make a video and share with you all. Because I cannot be the only person that knows about this movie.